Hi, I'm Miss Alynette, and this is Tonya Washington, and welcome to another episode of In Your Face. And today we have a very important topic that we want to address. We saw this pop up in the news maybe about a week ago or so.
Yes, actually it was May 29th.
Okay, May 29th this popped up in the news, and the hot topic is video shaming. Now, this is something that is going on that parents are doing to their children who are having disciplinary issues in the home. Well, recently on May 29th, a story came out in the media that a 13-year-old girl committed suicide after her father
Shaved her head.
Shaved her head, and after it wasn't released exactly what she did, but he videoed it. Now, he had no intentions for the video to leak out to social media, but a third party who remains anonymous leaked the video. So the video got out, and this 13-year-old girl was riding with her grandmother in the car and decided to jump off of a freeway and take her own life.
Yes.
So we wanted to address this topic because it seems like more and more in media, more parents are taking to video shaming to correct their children.
Yes.
And I have different feelings about it. Like at some points I can agree with it, and there's other points where I think it's not really a good idea, especially in this case where a young girl took her own life.
But we're going to get right back into that topic right after these messages.
Hi, I'm Miss Alynette, and this is In Your Face. This is Tonya Washington, and we were discussing video shaming after recently a 13-year-old girl committed suicide after her father cut off all of her hair to discipline her after she did something. Now, we don't know exactly what she did, but the video of him doing this, cutting off her hair, was released in the social media by a third party. And after that, she actually jumped off a bridge and committed suicide in Tacoma, Washington. This was reported by the Tacoma newspaper recently. And we're kind of going back and forth on this topic. Now, do you believe that parents should use video shaming or shaming their children as a disciplinary action? Like, do you believe in that?
Wow, are you asking me?
I'm asking you. This is In Your Face, right? Are you here with me right now?
Yes, well, I guess I kind of have an opinion about that because I do have 3 boys. And you know, honestly, Alynette, I can say, thank God that internet was not around the way it was, because I can't honestly say if I would have did something like that. But since it wasn't around that popular back when I was raising my boys, now me personally, I don't think I would have, but I can't really say 100% that I wouldn't have either.
Well, I can see how, you know, for example, I've seen a lot of this surfacing on Facebook, different social media platforms where parents are shaming their children as disciplinary actions for, say, they put some racy photos up on social media or Facebook or Instagram, and their parents found out. And I've seen some really extreme stuff where children were actually handed out spankings on social media for what they did. Well,
you know, not to cut you off, but I would think that you being around your kids, you would know your kids' personality, their mental stability. Now, like I said, I have 3 boys, and I know each and every one of them stable mental stability. Now, my middle child, if I did that to him, he was like, "Oh, great, Dad, you did an awesome job. Can you do it again next week?" And then I had a pretty boy. Don't touch his hair. He thought he was just precious. And then my youngest one, he's like, he wasn't that mental stable. It would hurt his feelings. And I can see him being the one, if I was to pick the one that would commit suicide, it would be my last one, who would be not that stable in his mind, that would be able to take it from people teasing him and looking at him and making remarks. It would be him that would have like the break, the snap. But the other 2, you know, like I said, the pretty boy, and then the other one he would think is cool, you know. And then the other one, he would just collapse. So I think parents need to know their mental stability before you even try to do something like that.
Well, I can't really say what I do either. I think that it might be justified if your child did something on social media and they didn't really understand like the finality of social media. Say your child put a racy photo out on social media, I could see how, you know, I'm going to show you how devastating this could possibly be by posting a video of me shaming you. But in this case, I don't believe that was necessary, especially, like you said, not knowing the stability of your child. This girl jumped out of the car on a freeway with her grandmother, and her grandmother now has that image forever.
And her dad has to live with that. And think of the fact that it's like the dad became the girl's bully. Like the dad's supposed to be the protector, he became the bully. You know, because if you think about it, you know, dad loves me, he's supposed to protect me. If I'm out there at school, you know, kids are doing this to me, and your home is supposed to be your safe home. Now your home he's become the enemy in her eyes.
Right.
You know, now I'm going to bring a little bit of this. I know everybody has their different thoughts on religion and this and that. But, you know, God says about fathers, particularly, not provoking your children to wrath. Okay? Wrath, definition, is anger. So we have to understand, now, do you see it like God holds that father responsible for his daughter taking such a leap? Absolutely. Now, you can agree to disagree. You can take it to the Holy Bible, Ephesians verses 6 and 4. I mean, it is what it is. You know, but that's my belief, and I'm not going to push my beliefs on anybody else, but that's my belief as a Christian, as a believer. That's what the word says. But we're going to come right back at these messages. We have a guest that's going to come in with us. He's a father, and so we're going to have him join in on the talk right after this. Well, welcome back. We're back on In Your Face, and we're talking about video shaming. A 13-year-old girl has committed suicide over her hair being shaved by her father. But now we have got a guest joining in on with us. His name is Kevin Brannon. He's a father. He's a father of 3. You're a single dad, right, Kevin?
Yeah.
So we thought we would include you in on this talk and have, you know, see what your opinion, what you have to say about what has taken place here with this little girl committing suicide and her dad being, you know, kind of the cause of her
bully in a way.
Yes.
Well, like piggybacking on what you were saying when you went to break, as far as a father's role and a man's role in the house, you're supposed to be the king, and that's your princess. So how do you disgrace your princess like that in front of everybody? You put that on your kid. It's not only like you're shaming him. Once something's on the computer or the internet, it's not coming back. And for you to do that to your daughter, disgrace her and put her out there like that, I would never do it. I do video for a living. I got video equipment over my house. I can make it look as good as I want. I would never, ever shame my daughter.
Well, you know, like Kevin,
anybody.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you know, like Alynette said earlier, it was not the dad's purpose to have the video linked. I guess he was going to save it for his own private library.
For her to see and
For
remind
her to see,
herself.
but a third party got a hold of it.
And released it because they thought it was going to help.
But how is that going to help your child at all? I mean, you should educate your kid and talk to him. I took crime ministry through my church. You know, I'm a Christian too. And they talk to you about, you know, as a father, I was like a dictating leader. Because I said so. I'm the father. I'm big. I'm strong. I'm going to intimidate you and scare you. And that's not how you cope with your children, because if something happens on a grand scale, how are they going to come and talk to you? Last time something went wrong, Dad did this to me, as opposed to explaining to him why you cannot. Why you gotta be able to discipline them, but explain to them and educate them on why the mistake is there, and then to fix it that way. You're raising these children up to be the best kids they can be, the best people they can be. And if that's what you're going to do to your kid, again, that's, you know, my mom used to hit me with a wooden spoon when I was bad, you know, and that hurt. Put your hands and try to cover it. She hit you again, you move your hand, she smack you, but I still love her, you know. But when she started yelling at me and degrading me, I'd lose it. You know, she could hit me, and that's one thing. But, you know, but then learning again that you have to explain that there's an action for what you're doing. But as a parent, it's not through shaming them or videotaping them. I mean, people using this it's supposed to be social networking, and they're using this to just give out all their business, you know? And I just think that, you know, again, that it's kind of going too far.
Well, in the Tacoma newspaper, it basically states that in the video, if you watch the video, it says that, you know, off camera, you hear her father saying, "This is what you get for getting messed up." Now, we don't know exactly what she did. And then he then goes on to say, "How many times did I warn you?" And she said, "A lot." And then it scans her hair, all of her hair on the floor. So just that video coming out was enough for her to, you know, jump off of a bridge. Now, how would you have handled, like, say, for example, your child, whatever that child did, how would you handle that situation? Like, without shaming her, like, how would you discipline your child?
I whip my kids, you know. I whip one good one, and I name it, Like each kid, my kid got a Powerpuff spanking.
Right.
My boy got a SpongeBob spanking. He's given one good one, and you tell him you want another one of those, and then it's whatever done is done. But as a parent, you're always correcting your kids.
Right.
You know, clean up your mess, do this, do that. That's our job again. At work,
Yeah.
every time you mess up, do they fire you?
But wait, Kevin, sometimes, you know, you get tired of spanking. I mean, you get tired of hitting the child.
I hit him hard enough.
Let me tell you something. Trust and believe. Like you say, you were the dictator. They call me the general. My kids call me the general.
The general.
And see, I mean, you can whoop a child so much. I mean, you know, they go through their little rebellious teenage age, you know, stages. Like my oldest child, what he did was, you know, he was very athletic. He was a pretty boy. So therefore, I thought to punish him, I wanted to hurt him. So not hurt him physically, I get tired of hitting the boy. You know, so what I did was, he loved his trophies. That was his accomplishment. He loved them trophies. I said, you know what, I'm gonna teach this boy a lesson. I'm gonna get him. I took all them trophies, okay? I took them trophies and I put them in a box and I threw them away. That hurt that boy to his soul. You know what he did? See, that's sometimes as parents, we have to realize our actions will cause a reaction. And his reaction was that he ran away. Now, he ran away to his grandmother's house, you know, thank God. But the point is, my action, because it hurted him, because me throwing away his prized possession, you know, so we have to understand that there's different methods we can try to use. And as an adult, I had to apologize to my adult son about them trophies. I still felt bad all these years.
You talk about, you know, God's grace and mercy. I feel the same way about our children. If every time you messed up and did something wrong, like I do that with my kids, when I'm like, didn't I tell you this? And then you're like, oh, hey, I think he heard me, you know, the Lord tell didn't I tell you a bunch of times? And you still mess up. So again, by explaining the reason why and talking to the child about what the reason is. You know, I got a 14-year-old daughter that wanted to have a boyfriend. I had to explain to her, you can have a boyfriend. It's not because I'm mean. It's because, again, you're not mature enough. I still got the baby gates around you. I still got to protect you as your father. I didn't just say, oh, it's because I said so. I'm just a mean dad. No, when you get older and you can mature mentally, that's why I'll give it. So I didn't just tell her she can have a boyfriend with no explanation. Again, you have to go into explaining on why I'm doing it for you for your own protection. This is what it's for.
Well, I'm sorry.
So it's all about communication for you.
Right, because, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to come back and talk more with Kevin Brannon about this video shaming topic on In Your Face. Hi, it's Miss Alynette. This is In Your Face, and this is Tonya Washington. We're here with our guest, Kevin Brannon, and we're talking about video shaming. Now, Kevin is a single father of 3, so he does this on his own. So I think he has an insight on how you should discipline your children without necessarily taking to the internet and video shaming them. So we were talking before the break about your daughter who wants to date now.
Yeah, well, she's 17 now, so I actually have a boyfriend now. But again, it's just a matter of how I communicated it to him, you know. And again, I had to get taught this education, even for parenting. You know, some parents don't know how to be good parents. They want to be the child's friend, and they want to be, you know, the best parent or stuff like that, or too strict where the kid can't do anything. You know, kid spills a glass of milk and you fly off the handle. Again, when something really serious happens, how they get to come and talk to you like, hey, Dad, I got this little problem I need to deal with, because they're like, well, man, he's too crazy again, you know. Again, so there's sometimes you're too relaxed, and but again, I had to be kind of retrained, you know, through a service to show me how to again have grace and for my children, just like the Lord.
So what service did you go to?
It was called Crown Ministry. It was like a 12-week course at our church here at Calvary.
You reached out.
Yeah.
See, and that's the key. But a lot of problems with today, people have too much pride, I see. Well, I don't need nobody telling me to do. I don't need nobody else's suggestions. Okay, well, okay. That's what I was trying to.
But the whole thing, like, you going on, so again, shaming your child like that, even in public, again, that stuff scars your child. So
it does.
Again, you're not going to come back from that. You know what I mean? There's so many, ice cream ain't going to fix that, you know?
You know what? I agree, because you know what? I was bullied when I was a kid. And I know when I was humiliated in public, it just did something to me in the psyche, to the point where I'm not that person anymore, but I would want to kill somebody.
Right.
You want to hurt. So I can kind of understand how people who have killed in schools, because it boils your blood. You just want to shut that person up.
Yeah.
You know, so humiliating somebody is not the way. It's not the answer to do. I think people need to find a better solution.
She's 13, so you figure adolescence. You know what I mean? How mature can she be mentally? Again, that's one of the reasons why I let my daughter date at 14, because mentally, you know, where's she at? That's a tender age. The kid's going through, you know, school, hormones, all kinds of things that you got to put into perspective. Again, when you're raising your child and how you discipline them.
Yeah, I think another topic is that teenagers, they feel like everything in their world is going on right in front of them. At that moment is just like life or death. Like everything in front of them. They have no real concept that in the future, you know, things will be different. All they see is what's in front of them right now. So this young 13-year-old, all she can see is tomorrow and what's in front of her at that very moment. They don't understand the finality of
Right.
their, actions to their consequences. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. And that's where dad has to be that's where his princess is maturing, and he has to be there for her to guide her, because between, I say, about 13, 16, 17 is when the kids really start to define themselves. Which way you're going to go, on which road. You're going to get
trying
into
to
school.
figure it all
Right.
out.
And you got an area to where, again, that's where you got to be, having my two oldest are girls. So to have them, going through these things, I had to put that, again, think about that as they're going through it. Have my daughter cry in my arms about girls being mean to her at school. Some of me, like, let's just go get them.
That's
being a little girl.
of course, you're the protector of.
Right.
You know what?
That's a very. You tell them how to do it.
That's so true. That age right there, where you're talking about 12, 13, 14, because I learned from my two older boys. I sent my third one to boarding school at that particular age, where that growing is, or that kind of maturity, they're trying to grow and be like this, and it did him a world of good. So that age right there is a very tricky age right there, and parents need to understand that, because they don't know, okay, I want to be a child, I want to be an adult, I'm about to transition into high school soon, I got to act like them. So they have to be very careful with that age bracket, right? I mean, I know everybody can't send their child to boarding school. Fortunately, I was able to do that, and it helped my child out.
What do you think was different about boarding school over having your child in regular school?
Well, boarding school, he was in a boarding school in another country. So therefore, it's different. The mentality is different. The teaching is different. Where American kids are taught different. They're too loose and too, they're thinking that's like, they're more focused on, okay, I want shoes, I want Jordans, I want Nikes and this and that. So in other countries, they're more focused on education and structure. So that's the problem we're missing here in America. We're missing that structure. We're missing the value, keep things, core things which are important, more important in life to make you be successful in the world.
So this is another topic that we can go off onto then. What do you think about teachers disciplining your children?
Well, I know when my mom was getting disciplined, the kids act a lot better. Then my mom would let me, she'd stand up for me in a minute, and I would do more. I wish, the way my mom raised me, to where I'm raised, I love my mom, but she was a little bit more laid back. The 70s kids, the hippies, they were kind of rebellious against it. So I think our generation was raised differently than they were. You could paddle their kids, but look, they didn't have those issues in school. The kids, again, education, they were there to learn. You got kids now that don't know how to act towards a teacher, and the parents back them up. And I was one of those kids. So now I make sure people see my kids like, these are your kids? Because they expect them to kind of be like I was a kid again. But I had to learn that, again, there's different parenting procedures that we need to put in place. Like you say, at home, it starts there with education. My kid's education is more important. My mom let me stay home from school. My kids went 7 years straight without missing a day. So it's a different way how you teach them. And how we're being friends with our kids. Are we being strict with them? These are all you got to do is take care of your schools and your grades and stuff. That's all you need to worry about. If we start implementing that, again, and maybe some of these parents that haven't been parenting, again, get them the education and the parenting that they need to be better parents.
We're gonna have a show about that, about bringing discipline back into the schools. I think it's important. I had it. I got hit a couple of times. I mean,
some of those teachers are there. If you're in the younger grade, they're with your kids like more than you are. They're there with your kid, 6, 7, 8 days. And if they don't learn that respect, again, for your own teacher, how are they gonna respect anybody else? If they think they could go to school and just, ma'am and sir and little things like that kids used to have manners and stuff. Again, it's just like a brick house, it all side by side. So when you start letting them get away with so much, and you teach them, the lady that's taking care of you all day, that's trying to educate you, you could just be rude and abrupt to her, and she can't do nothing back to you. What's she gonna think about? Well, then I'm not even gonna put my time and effort into these kids.
Yeah,
as much.
and then to make it worse, then you have an issue with the parent. The teacher has an issue with the child, and then it goes home to like the parent-teacher conference, and then the parent is mad at the teacher for what their child did and doesn't take responsibility for their child's behavior.
Exactly, because they want to be the friends.
Well, parents, I see it like parents are not really being parents, because how are you, sometimes these parents are taking the word of the child instead of investigating, and especially knowing your child. I'll go back to where I said, how I knew my children. I know the way my children talk. The teacher says, okay, Cameron said this. I know Cameron said that because I know exactly the kind of the way he talks, the style he talks, And so I think it's more, people are getting so separated now. Mom and dad doing this, kid are doing this. You're over here playing video games in your room. The parents over here on one mom's on the computer. There's a disconnection. So what the problem is, we need to come back and be connected. And once you come back and be connected, you will see a lot of things get resolved within the family unit. But until that happens, we're going to have these problems. It's going to grow and grow.
But I think that another topic that I just take is I think that's kind of the way they want society now. And that way you keep them ignorant and they can do more things, with the family. If you separate them, then again, they're not strong and united.
Well, I'm going to go here. I'm going to say that's Satan working up it. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm a believer.
I believe it
and
too.
I'm telling you, it's Satan working all up in that to dysfunction the family.
Right,
that's
because-
his plan. Take it away and get these kids out the way because they're the future.
Yeah, well, years ago, you didn't have an adolescent, that went into shopping. When you were a 14-year-old girl, you got married. Or you're a 14-year-old boy, you went and plowed the fields. You didn't have an adolescence. You didn't have this 4 or 5 years again to go buy Jordans and go shopping and, spend all your money on Christmas gifts and then just stay behind the 8 ball on your bills because you spent so much money. I mean, when that
Well,
started
what about
out,
parents who sit here, they go into debt trying to buy gifts for $500. You go buy a game console
Right, 'cause
for
you wanna be their friend.
$500.
You wanna have your kids gotta be the
You better
best.
go and sit down somewhere and
But I'm just saying there's a disconnection between, again, values of what a family is. You can sit at a table, I go with my kids too, and we go to eat, and everybody got their device. I'm like, we got to put them away. At least
I
for the
seen
hour, we
that.
got to talk. You look
I
around, and
seen
it's the
that.
same way. You're not even spending that time that you're supposed to at the end of the day, asking how was your kid's day, what's going on, how's school going, to interact with them again because you're so busy. Or you live in a single household and you're busy trying to work 2 jobs and raise your kids and your kids rent. I mean, there's so many elements now. But again,
Well, I can go into so many discussions about that.
But how do you get these people that need help parenting to parent their children better? Again, if you're taking fathers out of the home there, especially in our area, that's a big problem. Again, how you need that other hand that's going to help raise them, then you're already against the odds, So there's a lot of elements that go into it.
You know what? That's another show because I can say something about that.
Right. It'll be here all day. But again,
exactly. We'll be here all day.
But a daddy's job is to protect his angel and his baby. And if a man shamed his daughter and videotaped it, he needs to get slapped. I'm just saying that's my opinion because again, I would die for my kids. I'm not trying to shame them that way.
Well, he's got the ultimate slap on the face.
Oh, he
because
sure does.
His daughter is no longer with him.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
So,
I prayed that for that father, that God's mercy and grace is really applied to him because something that's he's going to have to live with, and who knows that he's not going to end up suiciding himself
He's
because
done.
He's having nightmares.
Well, it's usually the ones,
You know?
it's like somebody that gets in a bad accident, somebody happens, the person that was drunk or something has to live with that the rest of their life. They victimize somebody else. They just don't go that way. It's
well,
just
you know what?
somebody he has to live with.
Hopefully, if he has God in his life and God deals with him, he won't go ahead and take his life. He just really has to sit up here and just tune himself.
Or he gets in, start one of them things where he can reach out and start saying, how are we disciplining our children? So there's one that people come back and say, well, maybe I got this all wrong. How should I handle this better?
You
He
never
can
know.
do something, So there could be something
That's
that
true.
comes out of that.
You know what? Whatever the devil means for your bad, he most definitely turn around for the good. He sacrificed one life of a little angel that's up in heaven now, but him coming out and doing that can change thousands and millions of lives.
Right.
And I can see God doing something most definitely like that. Okay, but this has been such a topic. It's such a hot topic, and we know we want to send parents in the right direction. Right now, I see it like you have the society at large is following so much negativity. To video shame your child, that is a negative. Parents, understand you are becoming the bully in your child's life. You are supposed to be that child's protector. You're supposed to love them. You're supposed to care for them. You're supposed to nurture them. You're not supposed to become the enemy. You're not the enemy. You're the parent. You're the lover of the child. When the child is sick, when they hurt, they come to you. They're looking for your embrace. They're not looking for the world's embrace. Understand your position, that most definitely that God has put you in. He has put you as the caregiver of his child. He has put you, he's trusted you with that child. Understand that. And like I said, I'm gonna go back what the word says, Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath. Why did God say fathers? Because he knows fathers are stern and they're swift with their punishment. Understand that. The woman by trait is a nurturer. But until next time, come back and join us on In Your Face with Alynette and I. And we're coming right back at you again with In Your Face.